Hello and welcome to North Star Stamper. I'm Sue Kremer. Today we're talking about the Stamparatus again, and we're going to be doing the hinge step technique. Can you see that those 5 happy birthdays there, you can see the shimmer, are actually embossed? Well, we don't actually have Granny Apple Green, Bermuda Bay, and Pacific Point embossing powders, but I will show you how I did it using our Classic ink stamp pads and Versamark ink and clear embossing powder. So let's get started. So this is a sample using some retired products, but I love the bright colors. Another retired Stampin' Punch on the inside. This is actually for my son's birthday. He turns 19 today. So let's get started. So I wasn't exactly sure when you do the hinge step how far apart the steps are. So I took a small stamp and I put it right on the 1 inch, and then I did my hinge step, and you can see that it's just about an inch. And I did that so that I would know how wide my stamp could be when I use this technique. So as long as my stamp is smaller than an inch wide this direction, let me use this one of these, so this direction, so that has to be less than an inch if you don't want them to overlap. If they overlap, that could be an interesting technique too. See, I always have more ideas coming. That's the fun thing about stamping. So I am using the same happy birthday, and that's from the sweet ice cream. And being a photopolymer, I have my thin black mat that comes with the Stamparatus in there, and a piece of grid paper. So I'm going to make sure you can see what I'm doing. Today we're going to use new colors, and I have a sample with Fresh Freesia, Highland Heather, and Gorgeous Grape are our purples. And my accents will probably be flowers. I think that'll be great. So I have a piece of just white, basic white. It might be whisper white. I don't think I'm out of that yet. And this is 4 by 5 1/4. So it's a layer, just like this one is on our sample. I'll leave that there so you can see where we're going. And I'm going to put the magnets that are very strong, very close together. And I'm going to line this up very near the top, and I'm going between these 2 lines, and I lined it up on this 1 inch line, the paper, on purpose so that I could make sure my stamp is above the 2 inch line. So that looks good. I'm going to put the magnets really close because when you pick this up, it does tend to pull the paper. All right, let's see. So we're going to start. We're going to go light. I do like to put a case under here. There's a Butterfly Brilliance because that's what I have on my table. All right, so we're going to start with Fresh Freesia. We're going to ink. Sorry, you can't see that, can you? I'm just inking it, and I am getting some on the plate, but that's okay. And then I'm going to stamp. I'm pushing right where the stamp is. If I don't get a good image, which I did not, I can ink again. Those magnets kept the paper right where I wanted it, and I'm going to just do a quick cleanup. I'm going to a darker shade of purple, so I don't really need to clean it really well. So now I'm going to lift my plate straight up and down and pull it straight up and put it down in the 2nd notch. See, there are like balls, or part of the hinge will fit right in there. So I'm down 1. So you can see I moved it down 1 from here to here. I'm going to move up a color. This is Highland Heather. I'm going to stamp. It'll go more quickly now. Hinge 1 more time. Clean it off. And I'm kind of speaking out loud to tell myself to remember to clean it. Gorgeous Grape. You can see I do have some here, but the stamp is keeping the plate away from my paper here. And that looks good. So I'm going to clean it off. Now I am going back to Highland Heather, so that's a lighter color. I'm going to use my piece of wet chamois to clean that off. And you just do this. I'm going to go back to Highland Heather. Those should be dry. I'm going to leave that there. Push right on my stamp, and that looks pretty good. Hinge step 1 more time. This one gets a little tricky, so I'm going to clean off the Highland Heather. We're going to go back to our light color, which is Fresh Freesia, one of our new in colors. I think those 3 work really well together. So if you have some double stamps or two-step stamping flowers mostly. They are going to be very pretty together. Get your details in the gorgeous grape. So this one is really wobbly. Can you see how it's wobbling there? So I'm going to hold it just straight. And I got off a little bit somehow, but that's right. I'm going to push right where that is. Not a very good image, so let's ink it up again. I think this color is just so light, and I'm going to be careful to put it right where, there it is. I could see the stamped image and to make sure I lined it up perfectly. Now, I do want to clean this off really well. I'll use a paper towel first. I'm almost done. I'm not going to put the whole card together. You're going to have to come to my new website, northstarstamper.com, to see my final card, which I should have up maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday. All right, so we're done with our colors. Now, to get all of these embossed, we're going to use an anti-static pad. Sadly, Stampin' Up! Doesn't carry them anymore. You probably have one, so I'm going to use my anti-static. And I'm leaving the paper right where it is. Okay, that should be nice and dry. I'm going to go back up to the top. And this time, I'm going to use a Versamark watermark ink, they call it stamp pad, ink pad. So this is just an embossing. So any clear embossing ink would work. And it is, because I haven't moved the paper, my strong magnets have kept it in place. I'm going to do that there. Hinge step. Versamark. And this I do have to do before I move the paper. Hinge step. I'm going to move this one closer. Now those have ink on them already, so I can't touch them. I can't put my magnet there. Oh, I forgot to step. And stamp it on top of my gorgeous grape. Step. This would be great on a scrapbook page, I think. Be fun to use colors. That one might not be perfectly aligned, but you get the idea. So just leave your paper in there, and then you can stamp in any color. Use a clear ink. And then this is how I store my embossing powders, and this is just clear, which Stampin' Up! Now sells as part, I think it's clear, white, and black, I believe. So I would just put this on here, make sure it's covered. You get the idea. Then I'd use my heat tool to actually, we're melting the embossing powder to get that. I do want to finish this before I finish my video. It'll stay wet for a while, but there. So I don't know if you can tell. There's the clear embossing powder, so I'll use my heat tool and melt the powder over it, and then I will have Happy Birthday in those purples like I have in this card. Thank you for joining me. Happy stamping. I will be back next week again with another Stamparatus tip. Making a wreath using your Stamparatus. You don't need to buy anything additional, and I'll show you how to set that up. And I think that's where we'll end with Stamparatus for now, and if I come up with some other great ideas, we'll add to our series here. But so Stamparatus one more time next week. Thanks for joining me.